Jesus didn't have a problem with people that's in the streets. He had a problem with religious people.
How can I help anybody when when I was not even able to help my own son?
I would never do that. I would never do that. And I became that in a matter of minutes when they took my pain pills away.
And I said, I'm not where I want to be, but thank God I'm not what I used to be.
This is Faith in Your Recovery. I am Randy Davis. Welcome to the battle. Greetings and welcome to our Faith in Your Recovery podcast. We're coming to you today from the chapel of the Anderson Christian Center here in Anderson, Indiana. We had to move from our studio for this one because of a very special event that's going to go on here tomorrow. There's going to be testimonies. There's going to be conversations on the bench. There's going to be music. There's going to be so much more. It's all of a recovery-related thing, and it's for those in need beyond recovery, those who are maybe without housing, those who struggle for food. You'll get a lot of good information. I think that's going to start about 3 o'clock tomorrow. If interested, come on down. It's going to be a 24-hour marathon. I'm going to be back with you then on Friday morning as an interview at 6 a.m. Yeah, it's a little different time than now too, but I'm good with that. I'm a morning person. Now, let's get to the point of today. Our guest comes to us from the Portland, Indiana area. As you're going to find out, she's part of the J County Drug Prevention Coalition. Miranda Roesser. Welcome, Miranda.
Thank you.
Good to have you. Appreciate you making the drive over here. Why were you willing to? You know, this takes you an hour plus. Why'd you give that?
Yeah, and then I actually live in Salina, Ohio.
Oh, I didn't know.
So, yeah.
Well, that's even farther, folks.
Yeah, I got a call from Candy, and
Candy's at our office.
yeah, and I was always told, like, if I was asked to give back to something in recovery, then I say yes always. So I said yes.
This is your way of giving back,
Yep.
right? Well, thank you once again for that. The inconvenience and the time and miles, that means a lot. I'm sure your story's going to mean a lot. Where's the best place to begin? We want to tell them after a bit where you're at because you're at a new place in your life. Maybe we should go back to where your issues first started, whatever age that was. Tell us about that, how your addiction got to roll.
Okay. So I grew up, it was a pretty normal household. You know, mom, she was a good mom, provided for us. My dad, he was an alcoholic, but I don't think I ever really noticed it. So it was kind of well hidden from us. They argued a lot though. My dad wasn't very active in my life like my mom was, like dance recitals, stuff like that I was in. He was never there. My mom was just always the person that showed up. And I remember one night they were arguing really bad, and my dad was on one side of the kitchen and my mom was on the other, and I was in the middle, like crying for them to stop arguing.
How old were you at that point? Ballpark?
I would say probably about second grade.
Okay, that makes you what, 70?
Yeah, probably around there. Yeah, and I just remember my dad holding a gun to my mom, and then we got ripped out to my grandparents' house, and then they kind of just separated after that. So that was my first kind of traumatic experience as a child. You know, and then we went to, it was the whole split thing, go to dad's some weekends, primarily with mom. My grandma and grandpa helped raise us, me and my brother. I have a brother.
Older or younger?
Younger.
Okay.
Yeah. They helped raise us just because my mom, for a little bit, was a single mom, working 2 jobs. And eventually, like, the visits at my dad's stopped, just due to the drinking or not wanting to go there, or he just wasn't very around much.
It was not a positive time.
Yeah. He just didn't show up a lot. But my mom, you know, she was great. My grandparents, the next kind of traumatic thing that happened, my mom was always in and out of relationships. And one relationship was whenever I was in middle school. So probably like sixth through eighth grade, I'd say. Kind of when I'm first starting to like find myself.
12 to 14,
Yeah.
somewhere in that range.
Yeah, I would say that. She dated this guy that was very controlling and abusive. So like, I'm just trying to like form who I am and figure out all that stuff, you know.
You're struggling on your own without any additional influences.
Yeah. And he was just really controlling. Like I would be up in my bedroom. He put like alarms on my bedroom doors. So anytime I'd open it, he'd run to see where I was going. We weren't allowed to see my grandparents. I wasn't allowed to do anything with my friends. I wasn't allowed to do any extra sports. Just anything I did was always wrong. So I got like very low self-esteem. She finally did leave him, but like my grandparents, like I said, we were close with them. He even like blocked off our yard, and anytime like they would cross the yard a little bit, he would call the cops. Like he completely secluded us from everyone and just kind of lived on this island by ourselves.
It's
with
called
him.
keeping the secret.
Yeah, he was crazy. But yeah, so oddly enough, looking back at this, it's kind of weird how this happened. He let me have one friend, and he was a neighbor boy, and we did stuff together, like, you know, playing outside, riding four-wheelers, stuff like that. And he kind of became like the person that saved me through that time. And
by his friendship,
yeah,
just that was an outlet.
Yeah, just because I wasn't allowed to do anything else.
The control and tyranny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she finally left him. Like just one day, it just like clicked in her head, and she was done. And you know, she was in a controlling relationship, and I now know like how hard that is to get away from. You know what I mean? So we had some issues with that, but I didn't really start doing anything until high school. Now, I never drank or partook in any of that because of my dad being an alcoholic. Like, I just knew what it did, and I didn't want nothing to do with it. So whenever a couple years later, I was 17, and I found out that that guy that I was allowed to be friends with, he passed away by a freak accident.
So you had lost track of him for a while, and then you hear this.
Yes.
Lost. Got you.
Yes. And mind you, like in high school, like I was really good at academics. I was a cheerleader. I had friends. Like I had all these things that were going good, like after that guy came out of the picture. And so I hear that happen to him. And like my dad's side of the family are the ones that are kind of like the drinkers and like did some drugs and stuff like that. So I just happened to be with that family, my cousin, and they were all doing heroin. So that was the first substance I ever tried before drinking or anything.
I noticed on your bio, we don't usually hear something that hard being the first. It's usually got that gateway of some sort, but I get the impression your gateway to the gateway was the trauma you had dealt with. But, you know, with the gun threat, with the control issues, with the availability, the loss of your, you know, your rescuer.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, tell us more.
Yeah, so also, this is a little graphic, but I injected it the first time too. So like went straight to that. And I kind of...
Is that because everybody else was that you were around?
Yeah,
so.
That's exactly how that was.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I was listening to one of your previous podcasts, and it said something about, like, back then we didn't really have the information we have now. And this would have been like 2009, 2010. I just thought that it was something like I could try once and, it just like weed or alcohol or something. I mean, I'm sure we learned about it in school, but like, I don't have any memory of that.
You know what? I can't be certain. I'm not sure we did learn it.
Yeah.
I don't know how much we truly knew at that time of its ability to get its hold and take charge of your life.
Yeah.
And as young people generally are, even if we're told, not me, it won't happen to me.
Right.
Well, believe us, if you try it, you're going to pay for it, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Either that day or down the road as it does its damage.
Yes.
And I read in your bio some of the damage and the things it took away from you.
Yeah.
Which was?
So at first, it took a little bit to progress, but not that much, because I got sober when I was young. So I was like 24, 25.
So you'd used how long at that time?
17 to 25.
Okay, so 7 or 8 years.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was pretty much continual. Like I couldn't get it to stick. Like I wasn't at that bottom yet. So I was in and out of rehabs, probably about 7 or 8 different ones. And just nothing worked. I couldn't get there.
Okay. What was it that snapped in you? What was the lights on moment that spoke to you and said, yes, you can, and here's how we're going to give it another try?
So like the final thing, at that point, so I had got pregnant when I was 19, and I still wasn't able to stop. So I used when I was pregnant with my daughter. At 6 months pregnant is when I finally did stop. I went to rehab and she was born, and I started right back up again. I lost custody of her. So my mom has her. And so I just kept going and experienced a whole bunch of stuff. It just kept getting worse and worse and worse. I was, towards the end of it, I was homeless, and, I had spent some time in jail, and none of these like outside things were ever enough to get me sober. I came to a point where like I was like broken inside and truly felt desperate, like mental or spiritually broken, and it just clicked then. It worked. I went home. I was in Toledo staying at the homeless shelter at that time, and I went home and haven't looked back since.
So you went from the homeless shelter in Toledo to your mom's house, yes?
Yes.
Is that what you mean by home?
Yep.
Okay. And from that point on, it's just been upward. I know there are stumbles. I get that.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking about the idea of a relapse, but life is life. And
Yeah,
has
for
its
sure.
moments.
Yeah.
Whether we're in addiction or we've never tried, we still have moments. What kept you on the right track at that time? You said, and you never looked back.
Yes. So it's crazy because looking back, like I know that this was like God working in my life. So my husband is also in recovery, and we've used together, and one was sober, the other one was out using, or vice versa. And then we came back together and we're both sober now. But after we came back home, we were both in Toledo. We came back home, and a week later, I found out I was pregnant. So I think that was it was kind of weird, like reflecting back on it now, like it happened when it did because I found out I was pregnant. So, I mean, then I was able to just keep doing it.
Were you able to stay sober during that time after
Yeah.
finding out of your pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay. How hard was that compared to other times? Or did you feel a particular inner strength that, through God, you knew you could do it?
Yeah, so I got involved in a 12-step program, which is very popular around where I got sober. And I just immersed myself into that. Like I completely took a look at myself and, did some work, counseling, all that stuff. Just did work on myself and yeah.
So when did Christ come into your life? You said you were spiritually broken, so you at least sounds like had an awareness of Christ before you got into all this.
Yeah.
Tell us that story and how that is playing out.
Okay, so this is a weird thing too, because the boyfriend that was controlling, he also forced us into a religion, into Catholic. So yeah, he made us do all the classes and turn Catholic and forced us to go to church and all that. So for the longest time, I resented God because I tied him to that guy. So yeah, whenever I started this journey, I didn't really it was hard for me to picture what God was or picture his plan for me or, any of that. It took a lot of work with another individual to be able to find that. And today I just see the miracles in my life and know that that's not something I do. It's something that's bigger than me. The whole me getting pregnant, a week after I found out I was pregnant, a week after I got sober, that's more than me. You know what I mean? All the times I overdosed and I'm still here, that's a bigger plan. You know what I mean? So
earlier when you were speaking, you would say it was weird, and then you define what was weird. But at this point, I think those were the miracle moments.
Yeah.
You just couldn't recognize them as such at that time.
Yeah. I say it was weird because it's something else doing that.
Yeah, so different and coming from somewhere other than your own thinking or your own heart, and you're able to move forward with that.
Yeah.
So let's look at that time since you got sober, since you got clean, you've got Christ in your life. What are some of the right next steps that you took, or next right steps, whatever the proper words should be?
Yeah, so I continue to stay involved in my program. I'm getting into
now your program. You're talking 12-step.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so I continue to stay involved with that. I opened up my own meeting for that, so I do that. I started having this job that I do now.
Tell the folks what that is and describe what you do.
Okay, so a certified peer recovery coach at Jay County Drug Prevention Coalition, and I am pretty much walk alongside people in their recovery, provide them with the resources or just the hope that they need, or just somebody behind them to say, I'm rooting for you, so I do that. And
so does that pretty much describe the role of a certified peer recovery coach?
I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, so I do that, and then that helped kind of strengthen my relationship with God too, because I get to see miracles in other people too. So I
have always felt I had time in my life. I'd teach Sunday school, getting ready for the class. I learned so much more than anything I could have ever taught the group.
Yeah.
And it's kind of that way with your work.
Yeah.
You get to see this, you get to be a part of it. And it just, I would think, validates who you are, where you've come from, your abilities, and it shows you the limit's not right here or right there or right there. We don't know where the limit is.
Right.
Just keep going. And
Yeah.
keep doing. I know you can't talk about specific cases. Not going to ask you to do that, but give us one example of a moment when it came to you as an encouragement to see this guy or this gal move forward in their recovery.
Okay. Yeah. I've seen people, take that step to go into treatment where no one else believed that they would do it. I've seen people get their kids back where they were in foster care for an extended amount of time.
Both of those sound like your own experiences,
Yeah.
if I may add that.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just stuff like that you get to see that just makes it worth it. And it grows my relationship with God, and it develops me better as a person. And it's just been a really good opportunity to be able to do. So,
where do you see yourself going as a peer recovery coach? Where would you like to be? What would you like to be doing in the future? Do you see this as a lifelong work?
So I started college for substance abuse counseling. So I'm working through that now. It's really early. I just started in August, but
so you're brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
Wow, great for
Yeah.
you.
So,
Yeah. Okay. How long of a process do you see that being for you?
It's a 4-year thing.
Okay.
So I don't know where I go from there after that, but
you want to get there.
Yeah.
That's an I'll get it out. Admirable goal that you have.
Yeah.
So then you can see what kind of doors that opens. Peer recoveries open these doors. That can open other doors to that next level.
Yeah, and I think also that's what being a peer recovery coach has showed me too, because I don't know that I've ever really set goals for myself. And that's what I do with other people. I am very goal oriented with the people I work with. So it's all about making goals for that week and completing them, and just that satisfaction of hey, I did something this week, or you know what I mean, or a long-term goal. It gives them accomplishment once they do it. So
as simple as it sounds, I've read books, heard stories, the power of making your bed in the morning.
Yes,
just knowing I've accomplished one thing today.
Yeah.
If I don't accomplish anything else. And the pride you can take in that drives you to that next moment of accomplishment and pride and says, yes, you can. And I don't know that I've mentioned it here on a podcast many times, but back during my years of ministry, when I would deal with somebody in a therapeutic, a counseling kind of way, I would oftentimes ask them the question, what shoe do you put on first? And of course, we'd all have to think, is it the right or the left? And we'd figure it out. I would tell them for the next week to put the other one on first. That forces us to take a moment, think about that simple job. Nope, I'm going to put it on the other one first today. And we do that 3 or 4 times a day and everything. And you start to realize, yes, I can change. I've done this for 40 years, 20, whatever.
Yeah.
And today I change that. We start with the simple to help us recognize and realize we can get to the complex.
Yeah.
So I just throw that in for whatever it's worth, no extra charge to anybody, okay?
Yeah, I've seen, that's another thing, with my 12-step program, people always talked about seeing the change in people, they get to see them come in and get to see them grow. And that's where it first started for me. Once I started getting more time into the program, I still remember the first person that I watched come into the program that's still in there, just to see them grow. And that's the miracle they talk about, seeing the change in people.
God. With a Better Life, Brandon's Hope, the organization I'm a part of, I'm thinking the very same thing you're stating there. People come to the first meeting, they've got their chin down, they don't want to look up, they don't want to be seen or experienced. they just want to get in, listen, and get out.
Mm-hmm.
You've been to 6, 10, 12 meetings. You're suddenly smiling, participating, answering, offering your own personal response and all. And to see that kind of change doesn't sound like a lot. But for that person, they just moved a mountain to get there.
Yeah, it's a really cool thing to see. And I think that's why, like, my mental health, like, I guess, like, my story kind of started with mental health too. And, you know, my mental health has gotten so much better since I started doing this work, even just like helping somebody or seeing the growth. And
you can't give to others without experiencing something yourself. Even if it's just rightful pride. I don't mean arrogance, but I think God calls us to be proud of ourselves through Him, not to get arrogant. I can do it better than you, blah, blah, blah. But it's the idea that I'm doing my best to give to you. I suddenly give back. It's almost selfish at times, or so it seems. What would you say at this point in your life is your purpose?
I honestly think like helping people, helping other people. Like I love to do it. You know, that's the field that I want to go into, and
I'd have been surprised if you'd have said anything else. You might have used another word or something, but that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, I like being around people. Like I'm very family oriented, and I just like building relationships with people. So.
And I just noticed the smile it brings to your face when you talk about getting to work with others. You have found a place in that. It's making you a better you.
Yes.
And I think that's what God wants for all of us, to be the best me I can be. Not to compare myself to you or vice versa, but to become the me I've been created to be.
Yes.
How did your family feel about the Miranda of today?
Yeah, so they're really proud of me. They went through a lot with the short amount of time. I mean, sometimes it takes people like years and years and years to get to where I was, like in my addiction, but for me it was all pretty much fast tracked. So they went through a lot in that short amount of time. And
they didn't gradually walk down the side of the mountain. They fell over the cliff with you.
And they went through it. Like I'm the only one on that side of the family that has any kind of addiction. So like my cousins were in on trying to save me, my grandparents, my mom, and it didn't work until I was ready. But they're super proud of me. I have a great relationship with all of them. So and I think that, I've gotten to make amends to them all too. So we have a great relationship. Like I'm at my grandma's probably like 3 times a week still. Like, super family oriented.
Debate, it's not worth that. But you said they tried to save you in something, then you put it almost into a negative. They weren't able to do that. Words are real close. I beg to disagree. You're here today. Something saved you.
Yeah.
We know ultimately it was God.
Right.
But His working through your family, through their love.
That's true.
Through their willingness to be patient enough with you to send you back to another treatment center of some type.
100%.
And to be there when you got how old are your kids now?
So I have a 11-year-old. And then I have a 5-year-old and a 4-year-old. So right after I had that one baby, 11 months later, a month later, I got pregnant again. So they're 11 months apart.
Okay. And you've been sober now about 5 years? A little over
6.5.
6.5.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Congrats.
Thank
Number one. How much of your story do your kids know? I know that 4-year-old's young and they can't understand all of it yet, but your oldest child.
Yeah, so my oldest child knows everything because she's the one that unfortunately had to go through it all with me. So like I said, I had lost her to children's services when she was young. I got her back once for just maybe 6 months and then got her taken again. So she was with my mom. And so she pretty much experienced all of it. Like when I did have her back for that short amount of time, the first time I ever overdosed was in front of her. So she's seen that. She's seen, we were in the car and she's seen the person like at every red light was giving me CPR, trying to bring me back to life. Like she witnessed all that. She witnessed the bad people that I was around all the time with her, staying in a motel with her and, not even having a microwave. Like, yeah, she's been through a lot. And, but my mom was able to give her a good life too. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm grateful for that. But I was also like, she was the very first amend that I made was to my daughter. So like now our relationship is really good. She still does stay with my mom, just because that's where she's comfortable at. I mean, we kind of all just shuffle her around a little bit. She goes to her dad's on the weekends. I have her 2 days a week, then my mom has her 3 days.
As long as you guys are in agreement,
yeah, it kind of works.
Working, why change it, right?
Yeah.
Why fix it if it's not broken?
Yeah.
So, she's obviously a strong young lady.
Yeah.
To be able to forgive you, to be able to, and I'm going to guess, correct me if I'm wrong, but if she asks you a question, I get the feeling you're going to do your best to answer it.
Yeah.
Be it about your past, or Mom, why this, or why that.
Yes.
You will give her the story.
Yeah, and I think I would do the same. Like the 5 and 4-year-old, they don't know, but I think like openness and honesty, like, is what I'm gonna do with them because and educate them because I didn't really know when I was that age where it was gonna be. Now I know there's probably more education on it now, but I'm always gonna try to be honest with them.
I think transparency is a key to communication, whether we're talking addiction or going to church. I know you had bitterness there at one time, but God can easily overcome that bitterness. He's taught you that.
Yes.
What kind of a role does Christ play in your life now?
Huge, because I, in the mornings, I turn any kind of will that I have over to him. And so any kind of thing that I do through the day, it's him working through me or bringing other people in my life that I need to see. So yeah, I just started, I'm going to be going to a Bible study once a week. So I'm excited about that. I haven't really got into it quite yet, but kind of, digging deeper into that side of it, because as long as I do have him as the focus, my life goes so much better. Things that I never thought could have work out, and you can't explain it. It just does. It just works out.
That's all there is to it, right?
Yeah, and that's all. I used to overthink it a lot. Okay, I had to know what God looked like. I had to know exactly this detail. I had to know everything. So I was I just can't even believe that any of this is true. But that don't matter. Now I feel his presence, and now, so I don't need
there, even if you don't know what he looks like. I've often told people, I recognize God's voice many times, not often enough, when he speaks to me. I know his voice. I can't tell you what his voice sounds like.
Yeah.
But I know when he's talking to me, okay?
Yeah, I get that.
I know that's coming from him.
Yeah.
And I like you wanting to know what he looks like, et cetera, et cetera. People will oftentimes say, when I get to heaven, I want to ask him, ask Jesus A, B, or C. I don't think it's going to matter when we get there.
Yeah.
And the idea of Jesus, I don't think he's our stereotypical American European, blue-eyed, blonde-haired,
Yeah.
envisionment. Well, there's a Christ picture back here. That's called the Salzman, which is a beautiful picture. But I don't think that's what it's going to look like.
Right. Yeah.
Be,
and that's what confused me, I think. I'm just like.
And what's it matter? The bottom line with it is, what's it matter?
Yeah, it doesn't. And I overthought it all,
That's
so.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you're first into something, we don't know what to think or expect or understand. But it's called a maturity as we grow with it, a spiritual maturity. And we get to, you know what? I don't care if he's left-handed or right-handed.
Yeah, it kind of like, so I think that like my spirituality grew a lot whenever, so one of the times that my husband, he had relapsed, I would say probably 3 years sober at this time, 2 or 3. But he went to prison. So I had the 2 young babies by myself. And, so we went from a 2-income household to just me and trying to take care of these new babies when I'm just like being a first-time mom because I never really raised my 11-year-old. So I'm having to learn it all, going through postpartum depression, doing all this stuff. And things just started working out. And like I couldn't explain how it worked out. It just did.
Yeah.
And so like, I think that we were meant to go through that because that taught me that like, okay, if I just don't try to control it, just give it over to somebody else.
Dependence on God.
Yeah.
He'll find a way to make that happen if he has to. A bigger two-by-four for some of us, okay, to smack us around.
Yeah, so I'm like super grateful for everything that's happened to me. I'm grateful that, he went because I think that that's really where my relationship with God started coming together. I'm grateful for all the stuff that I had went through because it made me like dig deep within myself and really figure out who I am and then to be able to help other people. Had I not gone through that, maybe I wouldn't have been. You know what I mean? So
we're getting close to the end of our time here, Miranda. Is there anything you want to finish up with? Anything you want to say you need to address or comment about?
I don't think so, unless you have anything. The only thing, like, just the grateful for to be here. I'm grateful for, like I said before, everything I went through that got me here to where I am today. So
well, thank you. Appreciate your honesty, your transparency. You've made yourself pretty vulnerable here with some of the things you've said about yourself and your past experiences. But obviously, as God has forgiven you, as he's forgiven me, he can forgive any of those who place those atrocities or traumas on you.
Yeah.
And we trust they'll come to that point of seeking that. So again, on behalf of all of us at Better Life, Brianna's Hope, our podcast, Faith in Your Recovery, thank you. We always like to remind our listeners to stay in the battle. You never know when the victory flag is going to be waved and you can move into making a change and changing, saving lives. Amen.
Amen.
God bless. Thank you. Love you, folks. Tune in again next week. God bless.